What's on my mind? Okay, where are we with cancel culture? I don't know if we're like still dedicated to cancel culture. And I don't even know if that's I don't know if we're all in on that still. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm thinking about names like Ellen DeGeneres and Lizzo. And I know they had some serious accusations against them. But now I see that Lizzo's releasing new music. No one has really spoken about Ellen. So I'm like, is there a forgiveness at some point? I'm just trying to figure this out. And I'm not speaking on me. I'm just trying to figure out where we are all at as a group. I'm trying to figure this out. So I don't know where we are as a cancel culture. I feel like it used to be a much bigger thing once upon a time. And again, I'm unsure if that's like a good or bad thing, if we're like moving past cancel culture or if we're like still in it. And I'm not, and please, I'm not talking about people with serious crime allegations or someone who committed a crime or something on the crazy end of the spectrum of morals. Like, I'm not saying all of that. So please do not bring it to that. I'm talking about like little things like, you know, like someone being rude, someone having a bad day. I think we're seeing so many celebrities now. We hear them like being rude or this, or they said this, or they did this. And we're quick to like kind of cancel them. And so I'm just trying to figure out where we're at with that. How are we feeling? Checking in. Let me know. We hit on this with my next guest, Ian Lara. Very excited you to hear what else he has to share, but lots that we discuss, and so stay tuned. Ian, thank you for being here. Today I'm here with Ian Lara, comedian who has his Max special, romantic comedy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited to have you. You were one of the first guests we ever wanted. A snowstorm stopped us from recording, and you were supposed to be one of our first guests ever.
Oh,
and you trusted in the pod early on because we didn't even have any examples.
Yeah, I kind of I get an email and I'm like, yeah, I'll come down to Brooklyn.
Yeah, you were with it, so we appreciate it because we didn't have anything to show. Now we have something to show for it, so we appreciate you believing in us early on.
This production, this is the biggest I've never been on a podcast with a production team like this.
We try.
It's like 10 people behind the camera. This is insane. Yeah. This is great because it's not always like this. Sometimes I agree to do it, like on a random thing, and I show up. And we're in somebody's room, like bedroom, like with a camera set up. And I'm like, I don't know if I should have came to the Bronx for this, but I do it anyway.
I love that about you. You're like, I'm game. If someone wants to talk to me, I'm going to do it.
I'll go. I need the promo. And you guys are punctual witches too. Are you a punctual person?
I'm a pretty punctual person.
Me too.
Yeah. I would like to think so.
Yeah. I take that like seriously. Like like if I'm not on time, it's because something happened.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you meet people and they're like, I'm just late. And you're like, don't be.
Yeah.
Don't be late.
Don't be
like,
late.
I'm just late.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
And I will say he was here very early. So
I try.
You were early, which they say is on time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I feel like it's such like a, I don't know, disrespect of people's time to just show up late. Unless there's an emergency, I'm okay with emergencies. No, of course.
I always say that. I'm like, the most respectful thing you could have is consideration for someone's time.
Right.
Like, and time is money, time is energy, time is so much. And when you waste someone's time, it's like, yikes.
Right, yeah. I agree. I think I also get like anxiety when I'm running behind. Like I'm like, people are just waiting for me.
It throws me off, and I'll have a bad day. Like I don't like feeling like I'm late and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So we prevent. Yeah, look at it. Growth.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, so we start every podcast episode with the starting 5 questions. Icebreaker, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's something you do before a show to get in the right mindset?
I used to do nothing. I used to kind of just go on stage. But I've started kind of getting like just taking the time to myself to get my mind right, kind of just know where I want to go in the set. I used to just go up like they'd be like, you're next, I go up. But then sometimes it works, but then a couple times I found myself that I was a little like razzled. Like it took me a while to settle in. So I like to come in like already settled in. So I just take some time. I'll take like 30 seconds to a minute just to kind of go over in my head like, all right, I want to do this joke, I want to do this joke, I want to do this joke. Then,
okay. And so you're not listening to like music or...
No. Yeah. Somebody suggested listening to music, and I think I might start because people like just to get hype. I think, but then you don't want to come out too hype, because you was listening to gangster rap. Now you angry on stage.
Now you
Yeah, so I think I might start because a couple comedians have recommended that they do that they sit in silence and and listen to music. But I think that like on stage, I try to be as like personable and chill. So I kind of just like to go from chilling just to now I'm chilling on stage.
Yeah. So maybe music isn't the best.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make a playlist that's appropriate for
Like
what
a
I'm about to
chill.
do on stage.
Nothing that's gonna put you to bed though.
Yeah. Something that's appropriate for what I'm gonna do on stage.
Okay. So any comedians we should be looking out for?
Oh man, yeah. There's so many. I mean, I've been doing this like now. It feels like a long time. Like 14 years is gonna be. I remember like when I did a podcast and they would be like, "Is there any comedians to look out for?" And I was like, "Yeah, Marcelo Hernandez."
Yeah.
Like, he was,
And now
he's like the biggest guy on Saturday Night Live. I rember like Ralph Barbosa too. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
I actually saw one of his shows in Miami.
Did you? Yeah, he's great. He actually he's I've worked with him before. He was huge, and I was like, yeah, this kid is gonna be huge. And now another dude that's coming up the pipeline is Julio Diaz. He's another Dominican from New York. I think he's from Brooklyn. Funny dude. It's a lot of them out there now.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What's your TV guilty pleasure?
I recently started watching. I'm not like a big reality show guy, but I recently started watching a couple reality shows, like of the dating shows.
Okay.
Like Drewski, he dropped one on YouTube that's like looking for love, and it's so ghetto, but it's so funny. I watch them on flights sometimes, and I just be sitting in my seat laughing. People look at me like, "Why I'm laughing?"
Yeah.
But I think that I'll probably say that. But I'm not a big like 90 Day Fiance.
Oh
like,
no,
all
not
those
90
things.
Day Fiance though. I'm like Love is Blind.
Yeah, I'm
Temptation Island.
Yeah, but they are addicting. Like I stay away from them because I know if I watch it, I'm gonna be like, well, what's going on?
Yeah, and you're gonna be committed, and now you gotta and then Netflix now with the like 4 episodes. Now you gotta wait for the next 4 episodes to drop, and so now you're committed.
Yes,
and now you gotta wait for episode drops.
Yeah, but I like a real ghetto ratchet love show.
So were you watching Bad Girls Club?
That's entertainment. I never watched Bad Girls Club, but I enjoy the clips.
Yeah.
I enjoy the clips of the Bad Girls Club. Erica Mena has a show now on Zeus where she's like looking for love, and it's really, really ratchet and entertaining.
I have to watch that.
Yeah, it's really
because I used to watch Bad Girls Club.
It's insane. Yeah. Like they just show up ready to fight. Like they just got there, they're ready to fight.
That's the best TV.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
What's your social media pet peeve?
I don't know what's yours. Like give me an example.
Hospital bands, when someone posts like the hospital band.
Like I'm in the hospital
and they're not giving any context, and like I know I'm not like I'm not owed that, but also like give me the story.
What happened?
Like what happened?
I don't
and
like,
they just like pray for me.
Yeah. I'm like no. Until you tell me what happened.
You gotta tell me what you did.
I'm not just gonna give you my blind prayers.
Yes.
I need to know. I don't like extra happy couples on Instagram. I don't like it. I don't believe them. I think they're lying. And I always want to comment, I think you're lying. I don't think you're this happy.
Yeah, you gotta comment that.
Yeah, I don't think you're this happy. I want to say that. Because generally speaking, those like the couples you see that are like super happy on social media, they always like end up breaking
that ends up in some true crime.
Yeah, then you gotta delete the photo.
Yes. And it ends up in some drama, the crazy. I saw a post the other day that made me die because it was like, you can't just be saying like through all the ups and downs. Like, what are the downs?
Yeah, like tell me.
Tell me the downs. Right. Like we're committed.
Yeah, no, that's a big pet peeve of mine because obviously, relationships are hard. They're not easy, and Instagram's supposed to be the highlight. So you just posting the highlights, and everyone is like goals. Yeah. Like this is goals.
I ship this.
But but you don't know that like what's going on. So I think people should be more private with that stuff.
Yeah. I see that. I'm like, was there any other social media pet peeves I've had? Because I've mentioned a few on here. Oh, actually, that's my number one. Not hospital bands. I just don't like people crying on the app. Yeah. Like, it's just like when it looks like it was set up, like you took time to take out your phone. I know the podcast is tired of me saying this. Like,
no, I like that one. That's a good one too. Like I think those are funny though.
Yeah.
I think those are funny because you can't like no matter how much you cry, I can't connect with you this way. So at the end of the day, I'm just looking at you with a straight face as you're crying on your phone, but I can't emotionally connect to that.
But it's like for me, I just imagine the setup process. That's what I'm always ranting about. Like, so I'm just like, you took time to like take your phone out.
You get a whole team like this,
unlock,
set the cameras up, and then start crying.
And then but it's like, did you stop crying and restart? Did you continue throughout? That's where my mind goes. That's why it's my pet peeve. I'm just like, go through your emotions. But
I had a friend. She did one of those videos, like crying videos. She was drunk, and then she started crying. talking on camera, and she was so embarrassed. She deleted her page for like a year. And I was like,
I kind of feel it. That would probably be me. I
She
would
was
shut
so
the podcast.
embarrassed.
I would delete my social.
Yeah.
If I did that, I would.
Yeah, because she was clearly drunk and she was crying about something silly.
Yeah.
And she was like popular on things. So everyone was like, what is this? And I asked her, I was like, what happened? And she's like, I just got so drunk. I don't know. Like, I just got drunk. I got emotional and it was so embarrassing.
That would probably be
Yeah.
me. So, okay. Well, you've been on tour to many cities.
Yeah.
What's one city that surprised you?
So many. Probably Africa, Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. That was probably the most surprising, in a good way, in a positive way. It was very, very cool. Very, very cool. Like the people, the city. I was surprised I wasn't surprised that it was cool. I was just surprised because you don't hear people talk about it.
Yeah.
That's one.
All right, so let's get right into the conversation, Ian.
Yeah.
If I were to ask your friends, because everyone knows you as this funny guy, right? You have comedy, you have a writer, you have these skills. But like, if I asked your friends, like, who are you on the weekend? Who are you in real life? Like, what do you think they would say?
Yeah, well, my friends, as you get older, like I feel like my career and my friends getting older has kind of took us away from each other.
Yeah.
Where like all of them are like married or having kids, so we don't get to hang out that much anymore. But if they would have, when we were hanging out, I think they would have. I think they still would have went with like the funny guy, like funny forward. That
so
was
that's
always,
you, like around the clock, like you're just.
Yeah, I mean, I generally am always. I'm not one of these guys that's like always on. Like I can have serious conversations, but I do have a thing where like when people get around me, I feel like I want the energy to be good. Like I try to be like my friends from like college or whatever. When they see me, like just on me walking in, they'll be laughing because they know it's about to be like
A good time.
silliness. Silliness stuff. So I think they would still be like, just I guess good energy, like how you said.
Yeah, you walked in with really good energy, so I had to tell you that because I'm like,
Thank you. I think they would probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm it's very seldom you're gonna see me like with bad energy. Even when I'm annoyed, like even me annoyed is like they think it's like funny. Like me at the most annoyance is still like funny.
And sometimes I see it as a skill because even when like celebrities get called out because they like were rude to somebody, I'm always like, oh, that's a bad day. Yeah. And like they talk about like, oh, you should probably like get media trained or at least learn to like manage your bad days so you don't come across with that bad energy.
Yeah. That's a big fear of mine. Sometimes you ever been like rude by mistake?
Yes.
That's the worst thing. Cause then you want to over explain and sometimes they're like, we didn't even notice this thing that you did. And you're like, oh, so never mind.
Legitimately happened to me last week. I had a meeting and I felt like something I said came off rude. And I remember I was telling my husband, he's like, you're overthinking that. Like I wouldn't have taken it as that.
Yes.
But that's the thing. It gives me anxiety because it hits me right away where I'm like, damn, was I rude?
Me too.
Yeah.
Like I'll be home like later on. Like did I say hi to the camera guy? Did I shake his hand? And I'll be thinking about it, and then I'll be like, should I send an email? And I was like, all right, let me just let it go.
Wait, we have similarities because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And my husband be trying to stop me. He's like, well, you don't got to email and apologize to everybody and like send a whole apology tour. Because I remember I was really obnoxious drunk one day in a car with a bunch of people.
Sure.
And it hit me how like obnoxiously drunk I was, and I sent like apology texts to everyone.
Yeah, that's a real thing, like the anxiety. I feel like it gets worse when you get older.
Yes,
I've done it now. Like I've apologized for the night before, and then people are like, "What are you talking? Like it was a great night."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's the text I got. It was just like I didn't notice anything. You were just drunk. Yeah. But as it's crazy because we didn't think about that when we were so young. Like I remember being 20 and just ignorant and like getting drunk and like didn't care about anyone or.
But now, in hindsight, I don't like that. I don't like those people. Like, I don't like 20-year-olds who have their whole life ahead of them.
Yes.
I like 30-somethings who have been beat down and now have anxiety.
And are stressed with us.
Yeah, that makes me comfortable. I'm like, okay, you get it.
Yeah, you get it. Thank you.
I don't like the YOLO
It also
kids.
shows that you have, like, some kindness, you know?
Yeah. I actually have a few times been like, I think I'm going to just not drink because of the anxiety, not even the hangover, just like
did that.
a anxiety. Like I just be too embarrassed the next day, and I don't do nothing. I'm not like the embarrassing drunk. I be chilled like all the time. I've only been like bad drunk like once my whole life.
Really?
No, more than that, but. In theory, once, like just the amount of times that I have been drunk and the time that it was bad.
I'm gonna say that in theory, I've only been really drunk once.
Like not in practice, but in theory, it's been very small amount of times.
For me, it was a really long time ago until my recent birthday, and I blacked out. And I was like, I don't remember the last time I blacked out. And then so the anxiety was quick because it was one of those when you wake up and you're like, I can only remember up to a certain period.
Yeah, but I think sometimes that's good. Sometimes you gotta live too, right?
Yeah,
You can't just.
Thank you for making me feel better.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about this. I just did South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Just
I was there too.
last
Yeah.
weekend. Were you?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, cool. And I went out to like a couple parties, which I don't party a lot anymore just because I just don't really have the time. And I went out to a couple parties and it was like nice. I'm like, okay, I could still do it.
Yeah.
If I had to. I just choose not to. But if I had to, I can go to the club.
Yeah.
You know?
We still got it in
Yeah,
us.
it was
I
nice.
just don't want to black out, but like, you know, we can be a little more cutesy with it.
Yeah, I think every once in a while you gotta remind yourself.
That was my one for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm retired.
I brought this up on my podcast before. I was like, I think you have once a year to black out.
Ooh.
I started at 3, and then I was like, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. I'm more like, I want to maybe like brown out, not black out.
Well, brown out, that like when what's brown out?
Well, for me, what I understand is like when you remember most of it, but there's like some parts that
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't.
yeah, that's browning out. Yeah. I think I'm pretty
Yeah.
good at remembering. Like, I remember most stuff. I've only forgot, like, I'll forget like certain things.
Yeah.
Like, I'll forget like, how did we get to the other bar?
Yeah.
But then I'll remember the other bar.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess that's browning out.
That's browning
I've never
out.
really like, only one time, and I was in college where I'm like, I don't remember what happened yesterday. And people were telling me and I was like shocked. Like I remember to a point, then I forgot, then it's done.
Yeah. So going back to comedy.
Yeah.
And you. So I would say this, but I'm like, to be a comedian, there has to be a certain level of confidence because you're essentially saying I'm funny. Do you feel like you
In
have
theory,
that?
that's what we're saying, yes.
Do you feel that you have that level of confidence?
I mean, now,
Yeah.
for sure. I think at the beginning, it's like a type of delusional, blind confidence where you're basing it on nothing. You're basing it on like your friends thinking you're funny.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you do a couple things, you get a couple trophies, you'll be like, okay, I think it's safe to say that I'm funny to some people at least. Sometimes, like, you know, when you post stuff, you get trolls in the comments.
Yes.
Like, so sometimes I'll get trolls that be like I recently had one last week that he was like, you always overlook all the positive ones and then you just go to the negative one. And the dude says something like, this isn't funny at all. Like, this guy has no talent. And I just commented back. I was like, hey, man, thank you. Like, I'll let HBO know that I have no... And, like, a bunch of people liked it. And I was like, isn't it a bit delusional for people who, like, think that their opinion about art is, like, the opinion?
Yes.
I always thought that
or
was
it's like
weird.
So subjective. It's like it's like when people think that whether a movie was good or bad to them, and like that's what they're saying is holy grail. Like when it's like anything creative is very much subjective.
Right. But even a movie, I would venture to say that like a movie is a little bit more objective because generally speaking, when a movie's like terrible, most people are like, this is horrible. But like comedies, people will sit there, watch a whole audience laugh, and then be like, "This sucks," and you're like, "There's 400 people there laughing," and you're like, "This sucks. They're all wrong. I'm right."
Yeah,
I know comedy.
That's a good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So your comedy often touches on the themes of growing up with immigrant parents. How has your upbringing influenced how you touch on comedy?
I think my upbringing, like everyone else's, influences everything.
Yeah.
How the way I look at life completely. Like not just from comedy, but just from how I carry myself. Like when we were talking about being punctual, like Dominicans don't really have the stigma of being punctual. That's not like a Dominican trait. You're never gonna hear, oh, he's on time, he's Dominican. That's not a thing that's said. But my mom and dad were very punctual. Like they wanted to go against that stereotype. They were like, you show up on time and you respect people's time. So I'm like that now.
Yeah.
So everything I do comes from a lens of like the way I was raised and grew up. So I think it definitely has a lot to do with like the material that I do. I think I do a certain type of material. I wouldn't call it like, I'm not arrogant enough to call my material like smart, but it's definitely not the simplest form of comedy.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with my upbringing. My dad was like an educator and my parents were very big on like school and education and stuff. And when I decided to become a comedian, I think that I was pre-law. I was going to go to law school, be a lawyer. And when I decided to go comedy, I was like, all right, I want to do comedy. I want to make people laugh, but I want to try to make my material and my jokes, I guess as relevant intellectually as possible. That sounds, I don't know, that sounds a little like.
No, that's good. It shows that comedy isn't this like one lane thing. You're showing that there's like layers to it, and like the way that you approach comedy is different than somehow how someone else approaches comedy, and that really has to do with your upbringing.
Right. Yeah. My comedy, I like to I was the youngest. I like in most of my jokes, like what I do is I kind of like present an argument, and and some people might disagree with the argument, but I present it in a way that they'll at least see like, okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I like, generally speaking, my jokes to make sense, like structurally and premise wise. Like it make what I'm saying, maybe you don't find it funny, but the argument is there, makes sense. I think that has to do with the way I was brought up.
Yeah, I see it now when you speak too. Like you bring up arguments when you speak. Like
I guess I do, yeah. Which isn't always good. Not good in relationships, but it's good in comedy. It works.
It's good in conversation. Because I'm like, you've got me thinking about two things much more differently. Where you're like comedy versus film, subjective versus objective. Like you bring up arguments in a way that doesn't feel like you're fighting me either.
Yeah, right. Well, I think that as I've grown, obviously I've gotten better at doing it on stage, and I think that is like that for me at least. It causes like the biggest connection between me and the people in the audience, because I mean, when I first started, it might not have been just how it is now, or as good as it is now for me, for what I am, but. Now I see that when people like come to my shows, they're like, that was funny, but like you made great points. Yeah. Which I'm like, I have a point.
I love that you were pre-law track as I was too. So we're pre-law dropouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave up second year of bachelor's.
Yeah. Yeah. I got up all the way up to like law school applications. Like
wow.
I got a bachelor's in political science and economics, pre-law. And I took the LSATs, I applied to law school, and then I didn't go.
Wait, isn't there like a whole character like this? Oh, How I Met Your Mother. No, what's it?
Well, in How I Met Your Mother.
It wasn't How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, he goes to law. He's in law school.
Yeah,
Marshall.
There's somewhere else where someone has a law degree and it doesn't go to use, but I'm forgetting which show it was.
Yeah.
It's like in the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it in the middle of this episode.
Put it in post. You got the team.
Okay, so what's a no-no for you in terms of material?
In terms of material, I don't really have a no-no.
Yeah.
If I think it's funny, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I felt about that joke. I lost my mom a couple years ago, and I have this new joke that I'm doing that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. It's kind of dark. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do the bit, but the premise of the joke basically is, which has actually happened to me. I told the girl once that I had lost my mom. And she was like very sad. She was like, I'm so sorry that happened for you. She was like empathetic about it, but she was like, but that's a green flag. And I was like, what do you mean? And she introduced me to the idea that there's women out there that don't want to date a guy who has a mom because they don't want to deal with like a crazy mother-in-law. Which I thought that was, as dark as that is, I thought that was funny. Yeah. Like that women are allowed to be like, I don't want to date you because you have a mom. And I go into it and I make a joke about like how that's probably the best example for the idea that everything happens for a reason. Because, which is dark. I know it's dark. I don't know if I'll keep doing it, but people laugh. People laugh. But I'm like, but then also when I do it, like I'm like, my mom would have laughed at that. Yeah. She would have thought that was funny. Yeah. That to do it. So I don't know. You know, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it. Okay. But I don't have no-nos. I don't really do politics, even though I'm a political science major. Yeah. I don't do politics. I just don't like where we are in a place in politics. Maybe if we were in like a different time, I could have done politics. Yeah. But now, there was a time where I felt like it used to be us versus the politicians, but they've managed to turn us against us. So now if you do a joke about one side, the other side's offended, no matter what side it is. And it used to be like you can just joke about everyone and we would be like, oh yeah, they're all trying to like screw us. But now, people take it personally, so I don't really touch that. Yeah. I've had a couple of bits about it, but I'm like, I don't want to touch that. Yeah. So. And since you don't have no-nos, you fear cancel culture? Nah, not really. Okay. Not really. I don't. I'm just like, why? I feel like if it came to it, I hope that the people that I've met along the way would vouch that whatever I'm being canceled for, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like I hope people would be like, he's not racist, you know. I know. And I'm also I always think I'm just trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I push it too far. I got a joke about my mom who passed, who I think may be too far.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, so I'm not immune to the idea that sometimes it does go too far.
Yeah.
But I'm only trying to be funny. I'm just trying to entertain the people who are paying to come see me. I'm not doing it out of like a dark or bad place.
Yeah. And I think there are people who deserve to be canceled, of course. But I think cancel culture right now, and I would love your take, because I feel like as comedians, there's like almost now like a fear, especially. But like, how do you feel that cancel culture has been taken too far for like things like workplace allegations and not like anything non-crime related?
Yeah, no. I mean, anything non-crime related, I feel like no. I feel like I feel the opposite. I think comedians have gotten a little bit soft, where they consistently are complaining about cancel culture and upsetting people and people getting mad and offended, and it's like, yeah, that's what we do. That's always been the thing. Comedians have never been. We're not politicians. We're not people you should like look up to. We make fun of things.
Yeah.
Like even if you look at the funny kid in school, like go back to school. Think about the funny kid in school. That kid was always in trouble.
No.
Being funny gets you in trouble. So cancel culture is just that at a larger scale.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be like, oh, you can't say anything. It's like, say it, but try to be funny.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part about it. If it's funny, you could get away with it.
Yeah.
It's only you get canceled when it's not funny.
Yeah.
Most of the times. Sometimes it does go too far, but I think we're in a place where you can say whatever.
Yeah.
I think.
And do you feel like it's come at a cost of like content and material? So like I always say, like we can't have The Office, the show, now and where we live as a society. Like, do you feel like we're not getting the best of like TV and comedians because of this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if the reason we can't have those things is because of that. I think that we can't have those things maybe for other reasons, and that's just like a cause and effect of like, for example, I was speaking to like this director about why comedy movies aren't being made anymore. Like he's a huge director, made some of the biggest comedy films of like when I was growing up, like teenage years, and he was saying that, well, the reason they don't make them anymore is because DVDs went away. It's not about like, oh, you can't make 40-Year-Old Virgin anymore because people get offended. Is that 40-Year-Old Virgin didn't do well at the box office. It made its money on DVDs. So the studios were willing to invest because they would make money on the back end on DVDs. But now DVDs are gone. So the studio's like, yeah, we're not going to take a risk on this comedy movie that's going to bomb at the movie theater, and we're just going to lose money and send it to a streamer, which makes sense. Yeah. But on its surface, you would think like, oh, people get too offended, so you can't make Superbad. But if the money was being made, they would still make it.
Yeah.
I don't think Hollywood puts offensiveness over money. I think the money's gone. So so like we can't do it. If the money's there, they're like, oh, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll figure out how to do it.
That's really insightful. Thank you for sharing that, because I'm like, oh, that gets us to think, because I think everyone blames a lot on things like cancel culture.
Yeah. But like a show like The Office, who was, a show at The Office was NBC, right? Yeah. It was a sitcom on NBC, which at the time where sitcoms were kind of on their way out, but it captured a moment in time when people still watch TV, and then it went to streaming and got big on streaming, and then it hit syndication and got big on syndication. I think you would still make it, but the thing is, I don't think NBC would give it a shot like they did. Like Seinfeld wasn't good the first season. Like not that it wasn't good, it didn't put up good numbers, but NBC believed in it. They were like, we'll do it. Now they won't do that. Now after season 1, they'll cancel it. So that's why you don't get the things.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't see many people who are offended a lot. Yeah. Like I see it on the internet, like everyone else. You see the tweets, but in practice, I don't run into people who are like offended. Maybe because I'm in New York. I don't know.
That could be it. Yeah, it's really hard to offend someone in New York.
Yeah. I like even like in the big. You hear sometimes people say like racist stuff, and then you'll ask like a minority, like, did you hear about this? And they're like, oh, I don't care about that. I have to go to work. I don't care what this person. Yeah, I don't care what this person said. I don't think.
That's definitely the energy here in New York. It's like, no, I didn't. So tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Give me the rundown and why they listen to podcasts like ours.
Right.
So as a Latino comedian, do you feel like, because we've had comedians come on here and they say like they're expected to fall into the stereotypes of comedy. Do you feel like you've also had that pressure growing into?
Yeah, for sure. I don't feel like it's a forced pressure.
Yeah.
I don't feel like somebody's like, hey, you need to do this. You need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. But I do feel that the energy is from when the first time I went out to Hollywood to take meetings and stuff, the energy is a general feeling of, oh, what's your Latino story? And I'm like, well, the story I'm telling is Latino. I'm a Latino person. I was raised Latino. So basically every story I'm telling is my Latino story, but they want what they have in their idea of a Latino story, which I pushed back on that a lot. And I feel like, in a way, I feel like not that it hurt me, but it stopped momentum a lot of times when I had it. But I'm also like, I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about. You're not going to make me talk about something else. I'm just going to talk about the things that I find funny. And the people who find it funny, they could come watch. And then the people who don't, I'm sorry.
I love that. No, because I always say it. I'm like, what we're living out is a Latino story. It's not like when you're talking about dating, you're dating as a Latino.
Right.
When you're talking about having breakfast, that's you having breakfast as a Latino.
Right,
but you're not going to be like,
this is a Latino breakfast story.
My date was so spicy.
Yeah. I also had a theory. I had this theory like coming into it. I think that, and I've realized this in comedy, and I'm not blaming this on any type of like racism or anything like that, but I noticed that white creators get to exist in a world where they can create whatever they want. It doesn't matter the story. And I see it on stage. There's comedians, white comedians who I think are hilarious, and they'll have a 20-minute joke on horses. And they get to do 20 minutes on horses. That's what they find funny, and this is the talent. And I think the highest level of equality in entertainment, especially for like a Latino person, is when we're allowed to speak about whatever we want without having a thing of like, yeah, but make it more Latino. Speak Spanglish, or do a chancleta bit, or do a thing, dress up like your grandma, dress up like your... If they want to do that, that's great. Go ahead, move forward and do it. But if you don't want to do it, the ability to just tell your story about growing up in Brooklyn, that is also the biggest, I think, the highest level of equality in entertainment, when you can just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yes. Please take notes, studios, directors, casting. I say this all the time, so preach. And in your comedy special, we won't give too much away because we want everyone to go watch.
Yeah, the romantic comedy?
Yes, romantic comedy.
Yeah. You could give it away. That's from 2022. If you haven't watched, you're racist.
Well, you never know. You never know.
No. Yeah, that I have a new one. I just filmed a new one.
Oh,
I just filmed a new
it's
one.
not out yet.
No, it's not out
okay.
yet.
When does
It's
it
not
come
out yet.
Are you not so sure?
I hope. Yeah, I hope within the next. I hope this spring.
Yeah.
I hope this spring. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. You did talk about traveling, and again, I'm gonna push everyone to go because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, what kind of traveler are you? Because you didn't share that. Are you an adventurer, or are you like, I need to go relax?
No, well, now I'm very well traveled now.
Yes.
Like growing up, I wasn't. Growing up, we would go to DR. That's it. It was no Disney World, no Florida.
Just
we're
one way.
going to Dominican Republic as soon as school is out, and you come back when school starts. That was the thing. Now, I'm very lucky. Comedy has taken me all over the world, and I do like to explore. I'm a comedian, so I want to see things. I want to see things. I want my brain to be challenged. I want to see different cultures, because that's where I get the stuff from. So I want to experience things. But now I've been to like some of the places I've been like 3-4 times now. Yeah. So like I don't explore as much. But if it's a new place, I definitely want to go see these things.
Yeah. Also, you're getting right into like visiting all the popular spots and like
whatever it is. Even it, like I'll be at the comedy club and a waitress will be like, you gotta go try this diner, and I'll be like, all right, I'll go to the diner. I go to the diner.
Are you fitting any naps in? Like, are you like, because there's people who really get tight about people napping on vacation.
Yeah. Oh, you saying on vacation when it's not for work?
Not for work. I'm talking work. If you're on vacation, are you like adventure or relax?
Oh, probably adventure. No napping on vacation.
Napping.
Napping on vacation is crazy. Only reason you should nap on vacation, I think, is if you black out. And you need a rest.
I love how this circles back to black.
Yeah, if you black out and you need a break, then you should nap. But no, I don't like
What
like
about if you're like
adventure.
on the beach and it's like,
Like napping on the beach?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
like, because that's like
Okay.
two birds with one stone. That's
Yeah.
like, I'm at the beach, but I'm also getting a nap in.
okay,
That works.
yeah.
If you could fit
I
it in
always
like
need
that.
a nap when I get to my destination, like a quick one, like just a quick.
What, like 20 minutes?
Yeah, maybe.
20 minutes is not bad.
Yeah.
20 minutes is not terrible. But yeah, I like, let's go out. Let's go do the things. I need to live.
Yeah.
I just filmed a new special.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd hour of comedy. And now I'm creating a new hour of comedy. And I need experiences. Like my life is only, people want to see what I have to say, but I need to live. I need to speak to people. I need to meet people. I need to go places. I need bad stuff to happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, which is a weird thing, but whenever bad stuff happens to me, I'm always like, this is terrible, but this is going to be great for the act.
I'm just trying to imagine something bad happening to him. He's just like, yes.
It's so many times that's happened. I mean,
Writing.
so many
Yeah.
times that's happened, like where stuff has happened to me and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But I'm like, when I'm ready to tell this is going to be gold.
It's gonna be great. And you're
Yeah.
just there with a smile. Someone just watched you step into a whole pile of shit. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I'm like, this is gonna be amazing. Especially now,
Yeah.
like I have my podcast too, so that my listeners, like, they tune in every week to hear me tell, because good stuff is not funny. Like funny is bad stuff.
Yeah.
Like funny is, I had this planned, but none of it worked out because this happened, and people more relate to that.
Yeah.
So whenever I have like bad travel days, I just going down to South by Southwest. I had a morning flight at 9 a.m. I was supposed to be in Austin. I had a connection. I was supposed to be in Austin at 1 p.m. My first flight was delayed. I missed my connection. I did not get to Austin till 10:30 p.m. So I was at the airport in Atlanta from 11 to 10:30 p.m. Like just at the airport. That's brutal. I was
Yeah.
miserable. But when I tell this story on the podcast, people are gonna be
Yeah.
like, good.
great.
Good that happened to you.
Yeah, and then
'cause-
they'll be like, that happened to me the
yeah,
other
because
day.
stuff happens to them
Yeah.
too, and it makes them feel better about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's my thing. So, I yes and a lot of stuff that I should not do.
You know what makes me think about when you have babies and they laugh when something bad happens to someone
Yeah.
or like someone hits one of them?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, that's from early on that we think bad things are funny.
Yes, that's a pretty good
Because you
example.
like, you like pretend you're falling and the baby's cracking up.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. So now, like I'm writing, I'm trying to come up with new stuff, but I'm also trying to live because
Yeah.
you need
That's important.
experiences. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
So what's next for you? You have another special coming out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm interested to see. I mean, when the HBO special came out, I feel like that was the time in my career that I had the most momentum, especially with the articles that were written about it. And you do it for something like HBO, people are gonna watch it. Like I had, celebrities like reach out, like who just happened to see it at the top of the Max app and they just watched it and they enjoyed it. And I felt like I had a lot of momentum, but then there was like a writer's strike and an actor strike. And then that summer I got like Variety's Comics to Watch, which is like one of the like, a lot of people don't know, but when you get Variety's Comics to Watch, they pick 10 comics from all over the world who they think are gonna be the next big comics. Like once you get that, you usually like take off. And when I went, Hollywood was on strike. So like I didn't get any meetings. I didn't get any, it was a great experience, but I didn't get the things that come with all the things when you get named that. So I hope that when this next special gets released, I hope I can take the momentum that comes from doing a special. Like you do the interview, you get out there, people see you, do another Tonight Show, do all this promo, and I hope I get the momentum that will introduce me to more people so they can come out and see my comedy and watch my stuff.
Well, I hope that for you too.
Thank you.
We're gonna put
I
out
appreciate
positive.
that. Thank you.
It'll happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we start every episode with what's on my mind. So I'm gonna flip the question to you. What's on your mind? Like what's consuming you as of recently? Any pop culture moments? Anything that you just, those random high thoughts?
Yeah. This is gonna sound crazy, but I recently have gotten like more into like fitness and being like healthy, and I think the reason is because I kept seeing like these Miami models from Instagram, Miami butt models, posting photos from the gym. Yeah. And that kind of motivated me to join the gym.
Okay.
So yeah, shout out to all the influencers. So now like I actually enjoy that when I wake up in the morning and I scroll through like my social media and I see women posting from the gym, it motivates me to go to the gym. And I know it sounds I promise you, it's not as creepy as it sounds. It's a real thing. I see women at the gym and I'm like, because women will post like 5 a.m. At the gym, about to work a 16-hour shift. And I see that and I'm like, all right, I could go to the gym. If they could go, I could go. And I've been in the gym for 7 months now, like consistently, 4 times a week.
I just love that it's like your algorithm.
Well, yeah.
That women would say it's a red flag. Because you know how many women complain about like, oh, your algorithm, and there's a bunch of women. It's working to your benefit.
I know, but I'm going to send them this video when it comes out. I'm going to be like, it's not a thing about, it's not butts. I just enjoy the motivation of
now
them
you have
working
proof.
out.
You put it out there.
Exactly.
I see what you did here. I see how you set yourself up for the future, his dating future. He's like, oh, look, but I explained this on a podcast.
No, that's a real thing because most guys don't post from the gym.
Yeah.
So you don't get the because that's a red flag for a guy.
Yeah.
If you're continuously posting from the gym, that's a red flag. So you don't get the same motivation.
Me and my friends were talking about that, and we said that an ick was a guy like posting selfies from the gym.
Yeah. Although I will say, I posted it wasn't a post, it was just like a story post from the gym, and I was using it to promote dates. Like I usually just use it to promote dates. Like I'll post it, and then after it'll be a link to like a club that I'm performing at, and it performed a lot better than everything else.
Do you think it was the dates or
no? I post the dates all the time. I think a thirst trap performs well. So if you're using a thirst trap for work, I think it's okay.
I think it was the blend of it. I think that like you're showing, like you're doing a thirst trap, but then you're also posting dates. So it's like, oh, he's a motivational. It's like, well, it wasn't just a thirst trap.
I mean, you tell me, I'll give you the numbers. My gym photo on my story did about 25,000 views.
Oh.
A normal post on my story gets me about 3,000.
So there's people were forwarding it.
So yeah, right. So now I'm in a conundrum.
So I take it back. There's no red flag. There's no ick.
Right, because I'm like, I think you're right though. I think it's still a ick if you're doing it without a purpose.
Yeah.
If your purpose is just the attention, you're not leading them anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm leading you.
You also did it in your stories.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a shirtless pic. It wasn't like that.
Oh, do you see? I'm talking about like the men who do like the shirt.
No, I would never do that. At what point
did you take off your shirt? And like, why are you doing this? And why is it in your feed? And
I would never. Oh, I'm lying. I would do that. But Bad Bunny just did that.
Oh, that was a whole ad.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do what Bad Bunny did.
That was a whole ad. Like he's getting paid to take off his shirt.
Yeah, I would get paid to take off my shirt for sure. If anybody's listening, I'm down. Give me a reason. I just need a reason. See, if you have a reason, there's no ick. But when there's a lot of people doing it for no reason, which is that's ick. Okay. That's ick, I feel.
So post with reason. Post your fitness.
Yeah. Like if you're shirtless at the gym and it's like paid partnership, Gymshark.
I'm just trying to figure out why you're taking off your shirt.
At the gym?
Yes.
For the partnership, for the Gymshark.
That's fine. But when men take off their shirt, I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. I guess someone's gonna come out here and say that they have 1 million followers from this.
So they do that. That's what I'm saying.
Just shut up. I don't have 1 million followers.
My friend does that. Like my friend, he does shirtless gym pics, and he's like a comic. And women are just like into it just as much as like there's a market for men that like just like there is for like the women. Yeah. That like how men
who find motivation.
No, there's me. I use it for inspiration.
Yeah, there's women out here who are using it as inspirations.
but women, and even like like I guess it just draws more. I think again, if you're doing it for a purpose, you got a Calvin Klein partnership, you got a Calvin Klein campaign, or you're promoting dates in Wisconsin. I think those are the reasons why you post gym photos. Honestly,
that's a good strategy. You got to get people in Wisconsin out.
Yeah. Because I've had girls be like, that was the ick. But then I present them that idea. I'm like, what about this? And then they, they're like, okay, well, if it's that, then okay.
Well, look at him presenting an argument.
There you go.
We're going to call that the episode theme. How to present an argument.
Yeah, how to present an argument, how to manipulate. That's it.
Well, thank you, Ian, so much for coming on. We appreciate you being here, and we're so excited to see the special and what comes of it.
Thank you so much. I really
course.
appreciate doing this. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, yay. Well,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Down to a T.